Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm from Jenny Card Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. My YouTube channel contains content that is intended to share paper crafting tutorials and inspiration with all of you. I hope that you enjoy. Today's video is going to be another sort of use what you have video. And I'm going to be creating some cards using my Cricut Maker. And if you don't have a Cricut Maker, you can always use die cuts. You can draw things out and cut them with scissors. But basically, what I wanted to do was create some Easter cards without having to go out and buy, Easter stamps and dies and things like that. Because I don't really need a full set of stamps just for this one holiday because I only make cards for the kids. So if you're like me and you just want to create some beautiful cards using the things that you have in your stash and don't want to spend any more money, then stay tuned to this video. I've got lots of tips and tricks to share with you on how to create beautiful handmade cards. Alright, so we're going to start in Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to show you where I grabbed these bunny images from. And I just clicked on Image in Cricut Design Space and I typed in the search bar the word bunny and then I just hit enter. And then all of these fun images come up and there are lots of free stuff, but there are also a lot of images for your Cricut Access. So I selected this group of little bunnies and I also selected one more. So you just click on the images that you want to choose and then you select on insert image and that will bring your images into your design space. Now I'm just going to delete these because I already have them here. And I created them all the same color because I'm going to use one mat to cut them out and I'm just using white cardstock. So when they're different colors, they're going to cut on multiple passes and you'll have to change the mat or change the cardstock. So I'm just going to select my material, which is my heavy base weight cardstock. I can also choose my pressure for my Cricut Maker. I can choose less or more pressure. I'm just going to go ahead and go with default. And I've got my fine point blade in my clamp. And I'm going to load up the material onto my Cricut mat. And I'm going to press the Cricut button and start cutting. So here we are cutting out my images in my Cricut Maker and it cuts out super quick and I mean this machine is a dream. I'm in love with this thing. It's just the possibilities with this machine are so endless and I learn more and more every single day. Okay, so my images are all cut out and I use a standard grip mat that doesn't have so much sticky on it. You can use a lighter grip mat. It's better for cardstock. So a little tip I have for peeling cardstock away from the Cricut mat is fold the Cricut mat. Try to just give it a little bend and help the images pop off instead of trying to scrape them, because normally when you scrape cardstock you're going to end up peeling the layers and making dents in it, and we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to peel everything away nice and slowly off of my mat and everything comes apart beautifully. Alright, so now we have the bits and pieces to make two different cards. So I'm going to make two different bunny cards. Also, you can use the leftover cardstock as a stencil and put some glitter paste on there or something along those lines. Now I just want to make sure that I have all my pieces and I didn't miss anything. So I have my 3 bunnies for my first card and then I have my little bunny bottom for my second card. Alright, let's turn these little die cuts into some beautiful Easter cards. Okay, let's make some cards with these bunnies. So first we're going to start with a mini Slimline card. And I've got a piece of heavyweight cardstock here. And my trimmer blade is a little dull and I need to replace it. So here's a little trick to help get more of a cleaner cut. If you just take a piece of cardstock and slip it underneath the piece that you want to cut, and you'll get a better, smoother cut if you have a bit of a duller blade. So for this piece of cardstock, across the 11-inch side, I'm going to cut it at 7 inches. And then I'm going to turn it around, reposition my cardstock underneath, and I'm going to cut it at 6.5 inches. I saw this little trimmer hack on YouTube, and I was skeptical at first, but I promise you it works. Okay, so I'm going to put my cardstock back into my trimmer and line it up at the 3.5 inch mark. I'll take my cutting blade and move it out of the way and close my little lid and use it as a score tool. So I'm going to score my cardstock at 3.5 inches, and this will create a 3.5 by 6.5 inch card. And now I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock and I'm going to create a matte layer, and this piece will measure 3.25 by 6.25. And then I'm also going to use this beautiful pattern paper. I picked this little package up at the Dollarama. I've had this in my stash for about a year. It was $1.25. I was so excited to see these pretty little designs at the dollar store, and I really love this cute little bunny. So we're going to cut it in half at 3 inches. So we'll get a 3 by 6 inch piece. And you'll get 2 card fronts out of this. So that's what I really like about the mini Slimline card. You can stretch your supplies a long way. Okay, so I've got all of my elements cut out, and I'm going to fold my score mark on my card base and use my bone folder to crease it so I get a nice sharp crease. I also have this little strip of green paper that matches my card base, and I'm going to incorporate that into my design. So I'm just going to glue everything together. I'm just using some dot runner adhesive. This is my favorite adhesive. It has so much inside of it. It's like having like 4 or 5 tape runners all rolled into one. I will leave it in the description down below. You can get this at Simon Says Stamp or even on Amazon. Okay, so I'm going to adhere everything together and get everything lined up nice and straight as best as I can. And then I'm going to take this little strip and I'm going to sort of just eyeball measure it, grab some scissors and snip off any excess. And I'm going to use the same dot runner and just adhere that down right on my card front. It's sort of like a little grounding layer for my bunnies, something for them to sit on. So I like the way that looks. And now I'm going to take my die cut bunnies. These are the bunnies that we cut out from the Cricut earlier in this video. And I just want to figure out my placement, how I want them to sit and how far apart they need to be spaced. And I'm going to grab some little foam squares and I'm going to pop my bunnies up with just a little bit of dimension. I think it just adds a little fun touch to them. And I'm not going to do anything to these bunnies. I'm just going to leave them white. There's a lot of color going on in the background. I like these bunnies just to be white and stand out. Okay, so I'll adhere all of those down. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to grab a few embellishments from my stash. I have some little white pearls, and I also have these little tiny hearts. They're silver, gold, and I try to focus on it, but my camera won't focus on them. They're too shiny. So they've got silver, gold, and pink little hearts. And I'm going to take some liquid glue, and I'm going to first put a little bit of glue around the bunny's tails. I'm going to put a little white pearl on that. And then I'm going to use those little hearts, and I'm going to put that on my bunny's nose. I think it just adds a cute little touch. So I'll use my jewel picker to place all of my gems onto my card front. And that's going to be it. I'm not going to do anything else to this card. I'm going to leave it blank so I can write a message to my nieces and nephews when I give them their Easter gift. So here's a close-up look at our finished card. And I also have a second sample. This is a pink version of this card. I love the way that these turned out. They're so cute and super easy to make. All right, let's get on to card number 2. This is my bunny bottom card. Now for this one, I'm just going to make an A2 size card. I've got a pre-cut and scored note card in my desk that I keep a stack of them ready to go whenever I have inspiration. So here's another fun design from that paper pack, and I'm going to trim it down so it fits on the front of my card base. So I'm going to cut this piece down to 4 by 5.25, and I'm going to adhere this to the front of my card. This will give us a nice 1/4 inch white border on the outside of our card. And then I'm going to take this leftover piece and I'm just going to glue it to the inside of my card base, and then it just ties everything together nicely. This is a fun watercolor background. I'm just going to figure out how I want my bunny to be laid out, and I'm going to use a little bit of masking tape to pull out the inserts to the bunny's feet, because I'm going to do a little bit of Copic coloring. I'm going to color the pads of his feet and his bunny bottom and So I'm just using a light peach marker here, and I'm going to saturate the cardstock, and then I'll come in with a sort of a mid-tone pink, and I'll just dab it in the center of the little foot pads, and then I'll come back in with that lighter peach again and just blend over top of it, and we get a nice little fade of color. And then I'm going to take some browns and I'm going to color his feet and his body with a light tan brown, and then I'll go over it with a darker brown, just sort of like sketching the color into the die cut piece, and then it gives us a little bit of texture. So I'm going to do that for both of his feet and his body. I come back with the lighter color and I blend everything back in together. So here we go. Here we have our finished pieces. Super cute, super quick and easy. Now I was kind of working out of screen here a little bit, and I had glued everything down, and I inlaid the little pieces of his feet using wet glue. And then I'm going to take a gray alcohol marker and just sort of scribble over top of his little tail, so it just gives us the look of texture. And then I'm going to take a little cotton ball and I'm just going to rip a tiny piece off, and I'm going to glue the cotton onto my little tail. And then we've got this fun, cute little fluffy Easter bunny tail. And then I'll glue everything down to my card base. Actually, no, I'm going to pop up this little tail with some foam squares. And that's it. Once again, I'm just going to leave this blank. I won't write any sentiments on it. I will leave the inside ready for my personal message for my family for Easter. So here's a close-up look at our finished bunny bottom card. And here is a second card that I made, and I just used a white die cut for this one, and I didn't put any cotton on his tail. The second version was stepped up from the first one. Here's a look at all of the cards that I made here today, using my Cricut maker to cut out my images and some cardstock and pattern paper to make beautiful and cute little Easter bunny cards. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see more videos using my Cricut maker. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it here with me. I appreciate the support as always. Coming up on screen are a few videos I think you may enjoy. Have yourself a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!